Hello, this is Jane Talbot and this is day 2 of my Invisible Counsellors adventure. Last night I held my first board meeting just before going to sleep. Well, as I was going to sleep actually. So what I did, I went to bed, I closed my eyes, and in my mind's eye I created a boardroom with a place set around a table for all my counsellors. I then opened the door to the room and I just shouted through the door, "Come on in." I was curious as to who would actually turn up. Richard Branson was the first to arrive, and he was really friendly. He called me by name and he was excited and enthusiastic to be in the room. Steve Jobs then sauntered in, and that was really interesting. I don't think that Richard Branson and Steve Jobs really got on last night. There was a lot of tension between them, and Steve Jobs, if I were looking directly at a table, Richard Branson was right next to me and Steve Jobs would be sitting at approximately 2 o'clock. J.K. Rowling turned up. Then there was a whole crew arrive and it got pretty noisy. There was one distinct absence. Tony Robbins didn't even bother putting in an appearance last night. That was a bit of a disappointment. And I was trying to talk to them, but they were all talking right over me, probably just being a bit social with each other. And I had a sense that J.K. Rowling wanted to say something, and she was saying something, but I couldn't hear her voice. It wasn't loud enough over the male voices. So I'm just wondering if tonight I hold a smaller meeting. So I set the meeting up, I invited people in, and then I explained the purpose of the meeting, at which point I began to fall asleep. And through the night I kept waking up thinking, oh gosh, I better call that meeting again because it doesn't seem to have got very far. And on the whole I think maybe it wasn't too successful until I woke up having had 2 dreams. And the first dream was about asking someone to take something really precious on a plane and advertising for a pilot to fly that plane who didn't necessarily know how to fly. And I put this precious cargo, I don't know what it is, on the plane. And even though I wasn't on the plane, I had the experience of being on this plane which kept almost crashing, and I could feel the feeling of fear in my body. And when I woke up there was a kind of hangover of fear. And what I take from that is fear is not an emotion that I am really well acquainted with. And I think I may have some fear outside my conscious awareness that might need clearing up to do with my business. And the second dream, I think that's really what made me think, aha, maybe they have met. Maybe there's been a board meeting without me and they're doing the work. The dream was I was in an old building, and part of that building was taken up by a performing arts school. Lots of young people having a good time with lots of energy, being really inspiring. And I turned round to someone standing next to me and I said, isn't it great to be surrounded by young people, such energy, such inspiration? And then I held up 3 manuscripts and I said, especially as I'm just about to publish 3 books. That's, I think, what I got out of last night's meeting. And tonight I'm hoping for a quieter affair. I will reduce the guest list slightly. Definitely Richard Branson, every time through the night that I thought I'll have to recall the meeting, he was always the first one in, always completely enthusiastic, always ready to go. And so I think he'll be my main source of counselling tonight.